Welcome to episode 166 of the Forward from 50 podcast, where we interview people over 50 who are pursuing new direction for their lives. It's an opportunity for men and women to tell their stories their way and in their own words. I'm Greg Gerber, the founder of Forward from 50 and your host for today's show. Today I want to introduce you to Jim Bartleman. He is a man whose life changed in an instant and who chose to turn that moment into a completely new way of living. Just days before turning 50, Jim suffered a traumatic brain injury after a fall at work. He spent weeks in a coma and months relearning how to walk, talk, and even swallow. But instead of letting that define him, Jim used it as a turning point. Today, he's not only rebuilt his life, he's redesigned it. Jim now lives full-time in an RV, works in the RV industry, and embraces a lifestyle centered on travel, relationships, and meaningful experiences. Whether he's helping customers at a dealership or connecting with fellow campers at a seasonal site, he has found a way to blend work and life into something he genuinely enjoys. Here are a few key takeaways from my conversation with Jim. First, life is not guaranteed, so don't wait to start living it. Jim's accident made it clear that putting off dreams until retirement is a big gamble. Second, you can redesign your life around what matters most. Jim chose a lifestyle that allows him to travel, visit his children across the country, and experience new places while still earning a living. Third, purpose often comes from helping others. Whether he's guiding RV customers or assisting fellow campers, Jim has built a life around service and connection. And finally, you don't have to have it all figured out to begin. Jim encourages people to start small, explore their options, and adjust along the way. To tell us more about his story of resilience, reinvention, and choosing to live fully right now, please welcome Jim Bartleman to the show. You had just recently turned 50, and it started off with a bang, literally. What happened?
Yes. I was at work as a service advisor in the automotive industry, and I'm not sure. I think that I tripped on a mat in the office of where I worked at, and I fell and I hit my head on the counter, and then I hit my head on the floor. And the next I know, it was 2 weeks later, and I woke up at a hospital.
So you were unconscious and pretty much in a coma for 3 weeks?
I was in an induced coma because they couldn't stop seizures from the brain bleed that I experienced. I was 49 years old. I was healthy. I was very active, and I just fell and I hit my head. And they said if I hadn't fallen at work, if I would have been alone, I probably wouldn't be here today. Wow. And that was my wake-up call. That's when I decided that I wanted to do something different.
Because you had to learn to walk, write, speak, and swallow all over again.
I did. Yes. I spent about 4 weeks in the actual hospital, and then they transitioned me to another wing of the hospital, which was the rehab facility. And I spent another 2 weeks there. And I went through different types of rehab, learning to read and write and walk and talk and even swallow. I couldn't swallow. And I had to do that all over again. And it was a long process. Even after I was out of the hospital, I continued into therapy classes to help me with my brain activity and memory and coordination skills. And it's taken me a long time to bring that back.
How does somebody learn to swallow? That is something that you would think would be instinctive.
Yeah, they actually put these little prongs on my neck to measure my swallowing capacity. And what happened is that I was taking in, when I swallowed, I was taking in too much air and too much liquid into my throat. So it was affecting my stomach. They had to help me learn how to do it properly. And it was a crash course. It took me 2 weeks to get through that. And I had to be able to swallow to get out of the hospital. And I couldn't have regular food because they were afraid that I would choke on it.
Right.
But I had a tube in my stomach and that wasn't reacting well with me. And it was a scary experience. And I had wonderful doctors and wonderful counselors there that helped me and guided me and really got me back into being a person again. So it was a scary experience. So I was very thankful for all those guidances that I had along the way to help me get back to a normal lifestyle.
Have you experienced any long-term effects?
Memory is definitely one. My short-term memory isn't great, but I can focus on things and they taught me how to memorize things like people's names, associating it with something else. I can remember people's names and different skills to help me with my memory. And now I think that I'm actually better at remembering people's names than I was before. So
That's good. That association, that's what the experts tell us we need to do when we're memorizing names. And so you learned it
yes,
as part of your relearning process. So that's cool.
absolutely.
Did the accident force you out of the work that you had as a service provider or service advisor?
Yeah, I was out of work for about 7 months. They held my job for about 6, and they had to replace me. So I lost my job there, and that's when I started thinking about the RV industry because we were planning on going full time anyways in our RV, and I thought that maybe that's a place that I could get a seasonal position at and be able to do what I wanted to do. And at first, it wasn't a seasonal position. I had to convince them to let me work seasonally.
But it all worked out. So you were able to use the skills and talents that you had developed as a service advisor in the automotive industry, but this time in the recreation vehicle industry.
Absolutely. I brought a whole new light to the industry too, because I was excited and I was passionate about it because I lived full time in RV and I wanted to share my experience with my customers. And I have friends, customers that follow me on Instagram just to see my journey. So it's neat.
What ways did this experience capture your attention and cause you to reprioritize your life after 50?
I realized that I don't know how long I'm going to be there for. I've always been a very healthy person and I've always strived to eat healthy and balance exercise and work and my whole environment. I realized that work is the main function of life and we have to experience things and live your life more thoroughly and really do it while you can because you never know what's going to happen. So I was able to transition into more of a different frame of mindset, I think, and realize what was more important to me. My kids are all grown and they're adults now and they live in different parts of the country and now I can travel and see them. So I like it.
And it's a very good experience, I think, from that regard, that people realize that life can turn on a dime. You didn't have a major illness or anything like that. It's just an accident that automatically changed your life. So many of us plan that when I get to be 65, when I'm retired, then I'm going to enjoy life and do things. And we're not guaranteed that extra time.
That's for sure. Yeah. I've had a friend that just died at 55 years old and he was very healthy, and he's not going to be able to see his retirement age and experience all those things that we look forward to in life. And that's my guidance, if I can, for anybody, is do it now while you can still enjoy your life and get out there and see the world and see the United States and different parts of the country and really have those experiences.
You got another job down in Texas. Tell us about that.
We did. We traveled for a little while and we realized that traveling was very expensive. And we did it for about a month and a half. I went from New York to Florida and then Florida all the way out to California. And on my way there, I found out about workpapers.com and different websites and Facebook pages. And I started looking for next year. And I found a place in Mission, Texas, and I applied and she called me right away and we talked about it. And it was a win for both of us and it was perfect for what we were looking for. So I was very excited. We got the job within a week of starting to look for it, and they needed somebody to start away. We told them that we'd be there in about 2 or 3 weeks, and they accepted those terms, and we came right away.
What kinds of things are you doing for this campground in Texas?
This year, we're camp hosts. So me and my girlfriend, our main job is to wake up in the morning. It's split shift. But we wake up in the morning and we open up all the buildings, the gates to the front, kind of do a walkthrough of everything. 2 days a week, we clean the pools. And I do the pool and she does the deck. And we get all that organized. And then in the evening time, we're on call for when campers come in after hours between 4 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And we drive around on a golf cart and make sure everything's still good in the campground. And then we look up at night. It was my first time doing it. We work 4 days a week and then we're off for 4 days. So there's plenty of time in there to do things, you want to do around the area. And a lot of work campers are like that. They have a set schedule that allows them the freedom to venture out and see some things around them.
And you were hooked on the experience of work camping within minutes of your arrival.
We were welcomed by about 8 other work campers. They saw us pull up in our camper, came out, greeted us right away, and just feel at home and guided us to what we needed to know about the experience. And it was a good welcoming. So we felt at home right away. So
had you experienced that kind of a welcome at a campground before?
Some places you kind of feel it out for different clientele and you're surrounded by different people. But I think that this was very unique. It is mainly a French-speaking campground. Most of the campers here are from Quebec, Canada, and it's an interesting experience. I've learned some French since I've been here, and it's been an interesting experience getting to know people and getting to know their stories and the experiences they had. And it was really neat for our first working job.
I have never heard of a campground in America that was primarily French-speaking, so that is really cool. And did you have any problems adjusting to the language barriers?
I actually did Duolingo 2 weeks before we. It really helped me a lot. But like conversationally, I'm okay. But when I get around groups of people, it's still a little bit difficult. But a lot of them speak English too. It was a good experience.
It's hard to be around native people who speak a foreign language because they speak so fast. When you're learning it, you just have a hard time doing it. So when they talk to you directly, they kind of slow down a little bit and are a little bit more patient with you, I understand. Oh, that's neat.
Oh, sure. Yes, that's my experience. Yes. As a group, it's a little bit difficult, but one-on-one, and kind of understand things a little bit better.
You're not going to be doing a webinar or anything like that in French, but you're able to communicate with them and answer many of their questions.
Yes, yeah. And that's what we're here for. And this is a seasonal campground, so a lot of the people come for the whole entire season. And I've gotten to know them. We're free to do whatever we want during the day. So we have a pool, they have shuffleboard, they have poker games, they have bingo, they play a game called Yahoo. I believe it's a Canadian game. But it's really cool to get to know their culture and their environment. And I've made many friends.
What type of RV did you select for this adventure?
So we went around and we went to an RV show, which I highly recommend to people that are searching because you can find a vast majority of RVs there. We bought ours in 2024 before I started working for a camping place, but we found a 26 Jayco Red Hawk. It's a driving camper, Class C, and it's a 26, which means it has a Merc bed in it. So it gives us a little bit more space on the inside during the day. We close up the bed, which is behind me. We can just have a bigger living room area. So it's nice.
Why did you select that kind of RV? It seems small, but it's okay for 2 people?
It is. It's perfect for 2 people. We wanted to be able to go pretty much anywhere we wanted to go. A lot of campgrounds, and especially national parks, you can't be over 30 feet. My camper is 28 feet in total length. And my girlfriend primarily is our driver, and we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about it. But she wanted to be comfortable driving it anywhere. And so we don't even tow a car. We rely basically on our camper. I bought an e-bike this year to travel around in. She rides a regular bike, but I'm trying to convince her to buy an e-bike.
Okay, that's good. What attracted you to the RV lifestyle in the first place?
I was getting older. I wanted to travel more for sure. I didn't want to be in New York anymore in the wintertime. We are the snow capital of the U.S. there in Syracuse. This winter, they got 140 inches of snow before Christmas. And I wanted to experience a little bit different. So
I can't even imagine being in an environment with that much snow. So
it was pretty rough. But for people that like it, it's good. But as I'm getting older, I tend to want to experience more warmer weather.
what are some of the other places that you visited in your RV? You had mentioned Florida and California.
Yeah, we went all the way across. Some of my favorites: White Sands, New Mexico. We visited a couple of the national parks, but that was so much fun. We went sledding on sand in White Sands, New Mexico. It was so much fun.
I
We went to. Go ahead.
I actually lived in Alamogordo for a couple of years when I was in the Air Force. So we would go to White Sands National Monument, I guess National Park now, many times. It is a very romantic place to go on full moon nights, to go over a couple of the dunes and enjoy a picnic and watch the sunset in a blaze of colors, then turn around and watch this giant move come up over the Oregon Mountains. It's pretty, or the Rocky Mountains at that point, and it's very pretty.
Wow. We're only there for the day, but I was definitely on our bucket list to work camp at White Sands for a winter.
I interrupted you. Did you have other places that you visited that you really enjoyed?
We went to a couple of national parks. We got the America the Beautiful Pass. So we were able to see Joshua Tree, which we drove through. A lot of the national parks, when we were going to the destinations we picked the destination and then we found things around that we wanted to do. This time, though, going home, we found things we want to do, and then we're going to pick our camping spots from that. So we learned from traveling that the experience is in finding the different things we want to spend time doing, and then just finding some place that we can camp for the night. So
that's a smart way to do that, Jim, really, to breeze through an area and decide which areas you'd like to spend more time in. And I think that's a smart thing for you to do, and planning things that you'd like to do in the future. And the next time you go out in the winter, I understand that.
Down in Texas, there's the Padres Islands, which is about an hour and a half from us here in Mission. And there's a lot of the Padres Islands that you can camp on. And we found that to be wonderful. We spent a lot of our 4 days off in both South Padres Islands and up in Port Aransas, which is off the coast of Corpus Christi there, and a lot of different places in Texas. The East Coast is really beautiful.
Did you get to see a space launch?
I did not. We missed it. Yeah, they do. Yes. Yeah, they do. Yeah, right off of there. So.
While you were traveling from Florida to California and back down to Texas, I understand you stayed at a number of Harvest, Host, and Hip Camp locations. What were those like?
Oh, Big Sky. That's my first thought. Is we stayed in some of the hip camps, and Hip Camp is just an app. It's free to use. And some of the hip camps we stayed in were ranches that people had that basically we were dry camping on some of them. Some of them were full hookups, but some of them were just dry camping in the middle of a desert or plain, and we had huge skies with thousands of stars and no light pollution. It really was an experience. Dry camping is not for everybody, but we spaced it out. We would dry camp for a day or two, and then hit a campground or a place that we had full hookup. So
Is there a cost to stay at those locations?
very little. Most of the hip camps are between $15 and $25 a night.
Okay. And for the harvest
Well,
hosts, they do ask that you support the business you're in, but that many times that's not a
that's right.
problem at all, is it?
No, in farms and wineries and breweries and pizza places and lots of ways you're going to eat. So we would either buy our groceries or vegetables and produce, eggs, and we have pizza at different restaurants, and it was really neat. It was a really neat experience.
So you'd go back to one of those anytime you're traveling.
A lot. Yeah, we started making lists of ones that we liked the most. The one that came to mind was a one in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was a harvest. He was really new to harvest hosting, but he actually had water and electric for us, and it was a big open farm, and he had a lake and a pond, and then off the side of his farm, he had a motocross track. And it was a weekend, and we got to watch motocross racing there. It was really neat.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so lots of good experiences. Yeah, lots of good experiences out there.
What do you like most about the work camping and RVing lifestyle?
I just turned 50 last year, so I wasn't ready for retirement. This gives me an opportunity to see different places without having to cost a lot of money to do. With work camping, our particular one this year was not a paid work camping job, but we worked about 15 hours a week for free hookup with free electric, and we even got a laundry stipend, which they gave us a couple rolls of quarters to wash our clothes with for the winter. So it was pretty good.
When you think about it, the housing is the biggest expense that you have. So the RV most of the time. So if you can get a free site for 15 hours a week, that's great. And many people do that to take advantage of the free site and then get a local job at a restaurant or some other place on a part-time basis to bring in any income that they need. It's best of both worlds.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a couple work campers here that they're the work camper and their spouse works from home. So they have remote jobs or other things that they do on the side, and that can provide them more income. It used to be, from what I understand, is work campers back in the day were mostly retired people, but the age is getting younger. And people are realizing that they want this kind of lifestyle earlier on to where they can still enjoy the lifestyle. And so it's getting younger and younger, and more people are experiencing things like this. So
you are absolutely correct. When I started as a journalist in the RV industry, that was in January of 2000, and the average age of first RV ownership was 65. People retired and then bought an RV. By the time I left my job as a journalist, that age of first ownership had dropped into the 40s because for the reasons that you suggested. People are just wanting to do this and enjoy these experiences while they're young enough and healthy enough and able to enjoy the experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely, I see it all the time. Most of the work campers that I know are around my age, and they're experiencing life in a different way.
Exactly.
And not rich by any means. I am not well off by any means, but I make enough during the summertime to save my monies and pinch my pennies because I'm living in my RV full time in New York. So that saves me a lot on housing. So I'm able to save my money for winter when I'm not able to work. So it's a win-win.
So the fact that you're doing this, that you're younger, I think is great.
Well, that's a good thing about Class C too, is it's easy hookup. You don't have most people come with a fifth wheel or even a travel trailer have to take some few minutes to hook up at least. I can do mine in about 10, and I can be at a different location the next day and have no problem at all. So move my slide in, unhook my hoses, unhook my electric, and pull away. So
how many children do you have?
I have 4 kids. They're all over the age of 18. My girlfriend has 2 additional kids. So we have a blended family, but they're all grown and adults now. And so they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing, and we experience things along the way.
You said they're scattered all over the country?
They are, yes. One daughter that lives in New York, and a son that lives now in Maine. He just moved there. Another son that lives in California. So they're all over the place.
That's neat to have an RV to go visit them because you can still connect with them and you have your own space. And when you're visiting, you don't have to stay on their couch or use one of their bedrooms and interrupt their own routines. So that's a neat feature of having that RV.
For sure, yes. It's very nice. Yeah, we were able to go visit my son in California. Oh, that was our main purpose of going to California across country, was visit my son. And we had an RV park that was 10 minutes from his house, and we were able to have our own space, and he had his, and he'd come pick us up, and we'd go out for the day and kind of experience the different things that he loved to do there. And it was neat. It was a good experience for everybody. So
the accidents forced you to look at your life and realize that you may have to go in a different direction. You stayed in the same area, being a service advisor, but did you give any thoughts to what your natural talents, learned skills, and unique life experiences would be, and what you might want to do going forward?
I definitely like helping people. I found that, and I like meeting people. So work camping fell into that. And I just fell right into, I love the different campgrounds that we've seen. And actually an 80-year-old couple told us about work camping while I was still at Wilkins in their parking lot waiting for October to end so we could hit the road. And then work camping for 15 years in their 80s in a little 16-foot scamp camper.
Wow.
And they lived full time in their camper during the winter at different places. They were the nicest couple, and they just really told us all about work camping and getting us involved and kind of gave us some guidance. And that's where we started our whole work camping experience.
Okay. Super. So you learned to look at that or took advantage of that. And what kinds of things do you felt pursued to do now that you're 50? Do you want to start over in a new career, or do you want to continue in this kind of work that you're doing? Is there anything that you've put in the back burner earlier in your life that you might want to do now that you've got a little bit more time?
I've experienced a lot in my 50 years. I've owned my own business. I've worked in the restaurant industry, in the retail industry. I've worked in the automotive industry, and now I'm in the RV industry. I like customer service. I enjoy it. What I do now at Wilkins is not like work for me. I feel like that I'm helping people with something that I'm passionate about. And I can see myself doing that for quite a few years. I enjoy it. I don't think of it as work anymore. It's not like a regular 9-to-5 job where you're so stressed out and you're so worried about it. I have about 45 minutes with each of my customers from the time I check them in till the time they leave. And I'm able to establish a relationship that allows me to help them better. And I like that experience. Work camping has just added to that, where I'm able to take those relationships and turn them into something else. And I meet people and I greet people and I show them to their sites. I help them get set up and I answer any questions they may have. And then I'm building relationships with them while they're staying there. And they know that they can come to me with any problems that they have. And I tell them that I love my experience with RVs. And I'm a beacon of hope for answers in a world that's full of questions. It's a good experience. I don't know if I want to do anything different. I know I want to travel more. I want to see where that goes.
I think that's a great answer, because you realize what you're passionate about, and that is helping other people. And so you said that it's fun to be at work. So many people, when they get to the 50s, they hit a wall and they don't like their jobs. They don't like doing what they've chosen to do because they fell into it out of necessity. But it sounds like you fell into it and you love doing what you're doing. And you might have stepped away from the corporate work and the corporate aspect of all of that stuff and just found a job where you can utilize those natural talents and learned skills and unique experiences to help other people. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. It's an experience that I'm learning to love. So
Is there anything still on your bucket list of things that you'd like to do?
before my accident, I was a rock climber. I started rock climbing when I was 35. So I was later on in life there too. So second half of my life, I would like to climb around the country.
Are you able to do that now, even after the accident?
I'm getting back into it. So when we get back to New York this summer, I'm going to focus back at first climbing inside a gym and then going outside and experiencing the outdoor climbing. I've already got it bid, and my girlfriend's right there with me. She climbs as well. We like signing waivers. So anything that requires a waiver, we're really into it.
I love it. That's neat that you're able to do that. You had mentioned traveling, how much you enjoy that. Are there any places that you'd really like to visit yet?
I haven't been able to see the northern states as much. I would love the opportunity to go there. Now we're working during the summertime, so it's our winter time when we're able to travel more. Maybe in a few years we'll reverse that. I'll work a normal job in the wintertime down south as an RV advisor down there and experience the northern states for a while in the summertime.
But no plans to do so at this point. You're just happy with where you're at this stage in your life.
Yeah, we really like New York in the summer. It's a really awesome place to be. And we really want to experience a little bit more of life up there. And I'm really happy with Wilkins. They're a really superior RV dealership. So it's family owned. Brian is the owner and he's just fantastic.
That's great. I really appreciate you sharing your story with me today. I think it's very inspirational because it caught you off guard and forced you to change your life, and you made the best of it. And rather than roll over and feel sorry for yourself, you said, we're going to change this and go do something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a great experience and I look forward to many more years of doing it.
And how can people connect with you again? Remind them one more time.
Yeah, it's sweet_Henry.adventures on Instagram. Or my name is Jimmy Bartleman, Bartleman, on Facebook. So I'm the only Jimmy Bartleman out there, I guarantee. So come and find me.
Awesome. Thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg. Have a great day.
Jim Bartleman's story is an excellent reminder that sometimes life's most difficult moments can lead to the most meaningful changes. After turning 50, what gives Jim meaning and purpose is the freedom to live life on his terms. Through full-time RV living and work camping, he has created a lifestyle that allows him to downsize, occasionally visit his children wherever they live, and wake up in new places while still doing work he enjoys. He finds fulfillment in helping people every day, whether that's assisting customers at an RV dealership, building relationships with fellow campers, or guiding newcomers who are just beginning to explore the RV lifestyle. For Jim, it's no longer about chasing a paycheck. It's about creating experiences, making connections, and truly enjoying the journey. His simple practical advice is to don't overthink it. Just get started. Make adjustments along the way when necessary, but don't wait until someday to enjoy a great life. If you'd like to follow Jim's journey, you can find him on Instagram at Sweet Henry Adventures or connect with him on Facebook by searching for Jimmy Bartleman. Jim's life proves that we can't control what happens to us, but we can choose what happens next. And sometimes the road to new purpose begins with a single decision to try something new. That's all for this week's show. Has your life gone in a completely different direction after you turned 50? I'd love to interview you to learn what you are doing and how it has impacted your life. It does not have to be grand. In fact, I'd like to talk to someone who is just enjoying life in a way that gives him or her more meaning and purpose. People can relate to those type of stories. If you'd like to schedule an interview, drop me a line at greg@forwardfrom50.com and I'll be happy to send you the details. Spring officially starts tomorrow, so let's spring forward together. Thanks for listening.